Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. It is um, Sunday, June 23rd. I hope everybody is well. What is this? Hang on. Oh, okay. Sorry, it's just some new thing YouTube rolled out, managing moderators. How is everybody doing? Heart Asia, hello. Let me get my list going. So, my husband is at the pool with my middle daughter. My younger one is upstairs, so she was kind of like, that's why I'm a little bit late, because she was kind of like bummed. She's bored. So I'm going to try and get through these as quickly as possible so she's not as alone and sad. My oldest is here too, but she's, she's not playing or anything with her. I'm eating a lollipop too. Who's here? Say hello. Hi, Regine. Hi, Seven Ocean Skies. How are you? Um, so I have, let's see, I've got Serena on the list. She paid yesterday. Davri, Regine, and Starry Sky. Hi, Ravka. How are you? Okay, wait, can I just show you all this? Because I think it's so cute. I was at Five Below one day. My friend has a tiny dog. Like, I think she's like 6 pounds. And so I found these little dog glasses. And I got this pair for her. And I got, hang on, this pair for her. I don't know if you can see them. They're like, sorry, I just had to share because I've like she sent them to me. I thought it was adorable. My kids were like, put them on our bunny. And I'm like, our bunny is not, she's not having that kind of business. Our bunny, I like to call her, let's see, what could I call her? Like quiet luxury. She's just the classic colors. Okay. So let's do some readings. What else? Oh, you know what? I wanted two things. Devery, are you here yet? I'll tell that story in a minute. Actually, two stories. One story is, and this is like kind of like a manifesting mindset thing. So like if everything is perspective, and I am very fair. Everything is perspective. So someone who follows me on here, she's a client of mine, but she's also a friend. She started as a client. She was trying to sell her condo. I told her 3 weeks, still hasn't happened yet. And then like all these other places are going up for sale in her building. And like 2 of them sold in like that. And she's like, we're talking, and she's like, am I blocked? And I was like, well, and then she kind of said it herself, but didn't realize it. She's like, I just feel like I'm so happy for them, but I also want it to happen for me. And I'm like, well, that's kind of like, instead of looking at like, when is it going to happen to me? Because that's still like a feeling of lack thereof, that something's not possible for you. Why not look at it like that's just a sign that it's coming in for me? So everything is perspective. You could have whatever perspective you want on something. And like, if you start looking at like this, what is it? The slit theory, where like any possibility exists. And the minute that basically your awareness is made of it, then that's the thing that exists. So I was just thinking about that, well, like, why not? Why not just be that possibility? You don't know what the truth is, right? Anyway, so that's what I told her. And I think that also helps too when you decide, like, it doesn't have to be the most negative thing possible, right? Possible. The words are not working today. I'm not getting as much sleep. I'm picking at I got these like gel, like whatever, and you can see they're kind of falling apart. Hi, Serena. I was waiting for everybody to show up. Wait, are you the one who purchased a reading yesterday? Are you the Serena? I might have spelled your name wrong in the list. Sorry. So will you type your question in the chat just because I feel like I'll read it now. So this is a part of a manifestation that happened for me. And you're like, why would you manifest your nails? I didn't manifest my nails. This is a result of another manifestation. So as you're manifesting, sometimes other things go wrong and you're like, oh, but why did that happen? So was manifesting something. I'm not going to tell anybody what it is because it actually has to do with my daughter. And that's her story to share when she's ready, if she's ever wants to. But I was manifesting a shift and a change for her. And it's happened, but it requires me to do some work on her hair and things like that. And so this is a result of that. So when you're doing your manifesting, just take a deep breath if things seem to go wrong and just decide that that's part of the bridge of incidents. That's part of getting to the manifestation that you want. It doesn't have to mean that, oh my God, it's not happening. Okay. Yes. Heart Asia. Just type your question. Just if that's okay, because I'll read the energy off of it that way instead of the email. Do you mind? Actually, can you just tell me his first name? That's all you have to do. Just tell me his first name. You don't even have to type the whole question. She wanted to know about whether or not her boyfriend is being faithful. Just type his first name. That would be great. That's okay about the lagginess. Mark. Okay. Boys' names that always cause trouble. Ready? Mark, Chad, Nat, Michael, or Mike. Sorry. Not sorry. So this is what I feel. I don't feel like there's a physical relationship. And I don't feel like if he were to say like, if he were to be like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I do feel like he's talking to someone or messaging with someone, but I don't feel like it's like a friendship that you're not aware of. And so therefore that's like a problem, right? Or like he would say like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like we work together, like whatever, we're friends, whatever, like get over it. But if you were doing the same thing, it would be a problem for him. What I will say is this: A, I can be wrong, and B, remember, like all readings are for the purposes of entertainment only. I am huge on manifesting. I'm huge on mindset. As you noticed, I like came into this talking about that. So I will highly, highly, highly recommend to anybody, especially when you're concerned about relationships in this manner, work on your self-concept. I get like, it's like, but if everybody is you pushed out, if your belief systems create your reality, there's some part of you that feels like you're not worthy and deserving of a loyal and secure and safe relationship. I think it's flirting. I don't think it's sexting at all. And even then flirting feels a little like, I don't know that he would think of it. I don't feel like he would be like, we're not flirting. That's what I feel like he would say. Even if as a girl you would look at it and be like, that's totally flirting, but it's not sexual in nature at all. Okay. There's nothing that it doesn't. It's a friendship, but when you have a friendship like this, it could easily cross lines. So my point to you is like, meaning like it's like an emotional thing, right? So what I'm recommending to you work on your self-concept and work on how much you value yourself and how worthy you are and how amazing you are. What follows I am is incredibly, incredibly important. Um, and so like when stuff comes up, like whatever, whenever he talks to her, he's like not even interested. Like you get to decide the story and the outcome. When I'm doing readings, I'm literally reading your energy and where it's going, or his energy and where it's going. I'm not reading like, that's why when they say like you can change the outcome, that's why. But it's not about you wishing on a beautiful star and like having this magic thing happen and make casting spell work. It's literally like going within, working on your self concept, working on how you feel about yourself, working on what follows I am, and then everything has to show up to reflect that inner belief system. That's the whole mirror thing about the world is your mirror. Again, yeah. So it feels more like friendshipy, but nope. I don't think you should address it at all. I think that you need to do that. I think what I really think you need to do is go within, do the manifesting work. And I say that because when you start playing with that in this thing of like having him like be like, oh, even if that's happening, it doesn't matter because he totally loves me. He's totally faithful to me. He would never let that go further than it is. It's because your belief systems have gone into this like, it's because your belief system has gone into like, oh my God, it's got to be the worst case ever. Then the universe is like, okay, worst case ever. Here you go. It's very interesting the way it works. When I used to never be so on board with it, but like, I realized how I manifested weight gain. Like, and it wasn't because I was always calling myself fat. It was like in a weird way where I was like, I would like my butt to be a little bit bigger, but I didn't think of it because my butt was a little flat. It wasn't as toned as it should have been. So like I was imagining that. And I was like thinking I would like my boobs to be a little bit bigger. Like just manifesting things that I didn't need. And I ended up getting COVID and going through an MCAS flare up and gaining 20 pounds. And like my butt sure is bigger, but like we manifest things without realizing it and in ways we don't want to without realizing it. It's unintentional. It's definitely lighthearted. But so my point to you is like, no need to be panicked or worried. That's like your lower self. And the other way you can look at it is like when things happen in the 3D, it's like, this is the old you who's already manifested. So when I look at pictures of myself where I'm like, oh, that's not like how I always think, oh, remember when I had that week? Like I literally put it in past tense. Like I didn't have that. That's not mine anymore. Mine now is like, I've lost the weight. I feel great. And of course, like I'm eating a lollipop and you're probably like, we'll get the fucking candy out of your mouth. This is like the first sweet thing I've had today. So I'm actually doing very well with my food right now. So I do think he's deliberately hiding it. And like, because it's the feeling of like knowing how you would react, because he would react kind of that way too. So I'm asking you to like stand in your power, and it's not about confrontation in this case. It's literally about going within and securing those feelings within you. So I'm going to this other thing because I feel like, so you understand, like, it's like the reason why stuff like this comes up, because I feel like it comes up in every relationship for you. The reason why it comes up is because you don't feel secure and safe. But no matter, like, it's like that. Do you have ever had that friend who is always like kind of fishing for compliments? And it literally does not matter how many people tell that person, like, you look amazing, you're so beautiful, you're like, so like, da, 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 da. Like they're always like feeling insecure, because it doesn't matter how many people outside of you tell you something, no matter how many people show up that way or whatever, unless you really work on that, what follows inside of like, I'm safe, I'm secure, the universe has my back. That's the idea of like, your happiness comes from within. Same thing. Your security comes from within. You have to reassure yourself. There's no one outside of you that will ever reassure you enough. So like the minute you're like on point about your own, what follows I am, like, I'm totally secure, I'm safe. It doesn't matter because he fucking loves me. He's loyal. This is a totally safe relationship. It doesn't matter if he talks to 8,000 girls in a day. Anytime he talks to those girls, all he can do is think about me and how wonderful I am. That kind of a thought process going on. And as you start to shift this, you might get back to a point where you get a little anxious and like, oh my God, this isn't working. It's working. Just keep pushing. That's your subconscious wanting to like stay in easy mode. One way to figure out like how much we work on autopilot is try the technique that I did some videos on. Right. It doesn't matter. But what I'm telling you about, like, you literally have to go, it doesn't matter if he's hiding his phone because I know the truth. And the truth is he's fucking loyal to me because I'm the most amazing woman in his life. Like, you get to play out that story. Start looking up manifesting, look up law of assumption, look up Neville Goddard. There's lots of free stuff from Neville Goddard. There's a really great person on TikTok. She's got some videos on her, but most of her better, like her content is better. She might even have it on Instagram too, but a lot of her content that I follow is on TikTok. Love Coach Kayla. She talks a lot about this. So that behavior is coming from when you start to look at law of assumption, you start to look at your belief systems and how they create your reality. And I swear to God, every person on here can probably come in, pop in the chat and be like, Anna talks about this relentlessly. She will always remind you of these things. Because I'm telling you, you can change what I'm picking up energetically. So you can look at me as a barometer, not as a predictor. I'm just picking up energetically where you're at, and you get to change where you're at. Okay? I should stop calling these psychic readings. I should start calling them energetic readings. So I believe we are all powerful beings. I believe every single one of us, A, has the power to be intuitive, and B, we're a medium. I believe that we all have the ability to change our reality, but it really does take going within and shifting our belief systems. It's just like updates on your phone. It's just like updates on your computer. Like, the other thing of like when people are like, well, if you have the idea of like, well, everybody else always has known me as this way forever, I'm going to show up and people are going to be like, you're fake, blah, blah, blah. Well, do you not update your wardrobe ever? Do you, like, you're allowed to change who you are. You're allowed to change whatever way you show up in the world, regardless of however people used to know you. You know what? Somebody used to change your diapers. Did you always stay in diapers? No, you're allowed to change and evolve and grow, regardless of what stage you're at in life. Hi, Starry Sky. I'm not getting a name, so I'm going to say that. I don't know. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter who it is. It's not about who it is. Go within you, because I want you to really look at this, like, genuinely take a deep breath and genuinely look within inside yourself and look at like, was I given a foundation as a child that made me feel safe, secure, valued, wanted, loved, and worthy? Or was I always trying to get attention or hide from attention because that attention gave me something that wasn't what I wanted? It does not. I'm telling you, it doesn't paint a different, to be honest, like where you're at is in a micro space of like, if I fix this or if it's this, then it's okay. But what I'm telling you is the feelings you have within about the insecurity will not change, because it'll come up, it'll show up in different ways. You'll probably be annoyed with me because I'm not, like, I 1000% understand where you're at, because I have been there in almost every relationship, and it did not stop until I started working on my self-concept. So I'm not telling you because I'm like, let me tell you how this works. Some, I'm telling you because I have 1000% been there with where you're at. And I've 1000% excused, well, if it's this, it's okay. So I get where that's at. But what's even better is when you work on your self-concept and you also start to really realize, like, I've really started to realize, like, how much we really create our reality and how easy it is to like shift things. That's way better. And you're not manipulating anybody by doing it. I have two theories of why we're doing this. So I feel like either way there's a multiverse. And it's either that, and sometimes when I hear myself say it out loud, because I'm a verbal processor, when it's either that, and I've pissed a lot of people off by being a verbal processor, by the way. So if you're one, I'm with you. Like where people are like, why'd you even ask me? And I'm like, because I need to hear it out loud, or hear myself say it out loud, or even hear you say it out loud, and then it like functions in my brain better. But so I think it's either it's a multiverse. There's an infinite number of universes that exist. So there's a universe that exists where he is in fact cheating. There's a universe where it's like he's literally playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you never have to worry about him ever, and you're super safe and secure, right? And everything in between all of that stuff. And this is not knocking on Dungeons and Dragons or anybody who plays it. My cousins always played it when I was little, my like siblings and stuff like that, and I was too little and it was too much, and FOMO. Anyway, you understand. It's something I need to make peace with. Yes. That's what I feel like. He's just chatting and it's nothing more than that. And I feel like if you keep on this like hamster wheel of like, it's something, it will evolve into something. And then literally it wouldn't matter if it was him or some other guy you dated. So the multiverse thing is like, it's either that there's that and our consciousness is shifting between each different thing of like where we want to be present. Think of it like if anybody ever played Super Mario Brothers, this is a little bit older of a group here, so you might do it, where the side to side Super Mario Brothers, and you would jump into like the secret tunnel that would take you to a secret world or whatever. It would be like that. It's either that or it's that everybody is you pushed out, and the infinite universes are each individual of us have our own universe that we get to kind of manipulate and change or whatever, but we still exist within, but at a different level. Not like non-player characters, but just that way. I think about these things. My brain is a little warped. Okay. In a good way. Stop assuming the worst and assume the best, because that is the law of assumption. Yes. It isn't about a positive mindset, right? Because I don't want you to think that, oh my God, I thought bad and then it went wrong. Because you can also hold the belief system, the assumption of I cannot fuck up my manifestation. Literally doesn't matter, even if I have a momentary lapse. Because the other thing is like when you have those moments of like it not going well, or like having that negative thought, right? It also gives you an awareness like, oh, there's some polishing work I need to do, rather than beating yourself up or shaming yourself. I don't have links, but I will write down. I like Neville Goddard. He is Neville Goddard. And then there's also Florence Scovel Shinn. The reason why I like the way they talk about it, and I think it works better for people who have grown up in a belief system of Christianity. I know a lot of people haven't, but it also talks about like taking that where it looks at the Bible as being more symbolic. And so it's like, Jesus isn't this dude. Jesus is actually like your own consciousness. So if you have a hard time with the Christian sort of talk, you, instead of saying like the Lord, like where I'll say like the Lord, like especially Florence Scovel Shinn, switch that with the law, makes it a lot more palatable. If you want to go completely like no talking about God or any of that stuff, Joe Dispenza is a good one. I'm spelling his name right. Hang on. Love Coach Kayla on TikTok is good. Hi, Joelle. So you can meditate on it. You can also do things like, because your body does hold on to stress It holds on to traumatic events. It holds on to that really a lot in your psoas. I mean, you can hold on to it in other places, but your psoas, your PSOAS, is your flight or fight muscle. It connects at the base of your ribs and your spine, and it kind of flares out in a way down into your hip flexor. So it's a spine stabilizer and a hip flexor muscle. So it's like get up and go, run, stay still, like all of that stuff, fight or flight. You can hold a lot in there. So you could do something like looking at psoas muscle, psoas release stuff. You don't even have to meditate on letting go. You can just decide, I'm done with this. Like if your beliefs create your reality, you don't have to create a whole big thing around it unless you want to. So like I had this epiphany the other day, so around weight loss or whatever, right? Where she's like, okay, so what do you like when you're manifesting something? What do you think you're going to attain? Like, what do you think you'll attain when you have a safe, like when he's totally loyal? That's about safety and security, right? Feeling safe and secure. So you could just decide, I am safe and secure, regardless of him or not. So when you start shifting that, so for me, weight loss, what do I feel? It's like, well, I want to be able to wear those clothes and feel more confident in my body. Well, why do I have to wait for that? I can just decide I'm confident now. And why did I lack confidence? Well, there's belief systems. Where do those belief systems come from? Society. Think about like marketing agencies, like people, when a company creates something, it's with this idea of like solving a problem. Well, somewhere way back when they decided cellulite was a problem, which it's not. It's not. And so they started creating all these cellulite creams. So there's all these ideas out there, like it's a problem to have a female body, like you're supposed to be like stick thin. Why? Because there's a lot of people who are pedophiles that like little girls. They want a little girl body, but with big boobs, like, which really doesn't exist for most people unless they have some kind of interventions. So, it was just like a lot of outside belief systems, and it was like making me feel shame about myself. And I decided I'm not holding shame around this anymore. So you sort of look at things. So I was like, I just decided, like, for me, a lot of it is like awareness. The minute I'm aware of something, it makes it so much easier to release it. So if you're aware, like I had this feeling, like, so take some time to look at your story. Where do my beliefs around relationships come from? Where do my beliefs around men come from? Like, what are those beliefs? Was I taught that men are garbage? Did my father teach that to me, or did my mother teach that to me? What did the world teach me? Am I constantly inundated with stories about cheaters? Like, start looking at that and then clean up your mental diet. Meaning, if you need to get off of social media for a while because you're seeing the same types of stories over and over, do that. Start listening to affirmations. Start really paying attention to like what you're bringing in and the thought processes you're bringing in around that. So I don't think you have to meditate. I think you can listen to, if you're doing self-concept work, listen to affirmations as you fall asleep at night. Do the affirmations. You don't have to do a meditation. Sometimes that can bring you into a deeper place where it's a little bit too much to take. And this is coming from somebody who's spiritual. I freaking love meditations, but I actually love group meditations over just me doing meditation, because there's like a kind of a cooler energy that happens. Like, I don't know. So I think I tend to take like a different perspective where a lot of people are like, you have to do meditation. You have to do these things to grow spiritually. I'm like, no, you don't. You can. And you can just learn as much as you want. You can just try and learn. Group meditations are awesome and uplifting. I enjoy them. So, I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. I think I'm just sort of like, whatever works for you is what works for you. What works for me is not diving into anything that's fear-based. It took me a long time to just be like, oh, that's all bullshit. If it's fear-based, it is not, I don't connect with it at all. And it's not what I believe God is. It's not what I've ever connected to be what God is. And the more I really started like really digging into self-concept and really like getting that, like, I really create my reality, that was a game changer, because it's like, then God is a part of all of us, and we are all interconnected, and we are all literally one. Um, like, no one is greater than another. And when I'm manifesting, it's not like, and if people are involved, it's not like I'm like, I can manipulate it, but it is kind of like, oh, I don't have to be taken over by this fear anymore at all. You're very welcome. Thank you for being present. Thank you for trusting me. Come back anytime. I like to ramble a lot. Maybe you'll pick up some more stuff or just be part of the good energy of all the people that are here. Okay. Let's see. I've got Devery had a question, Regine has a question, and then Starry Sky has a question. Fabulous. I'll be here for you. I'm currently working at this good job I told you about, and I'm really happy. Yay! But the background check is still looming over my head, so I'm worried about it. Your background check is fine. It'll totally be fine. And I 1000% understand the background check thing, because I had to get background checks for nursing, and I was always like, and like, there was part of me that was like, why am I even worried about it? Like, I think I've been pulled over once for expired registration when I was the nurse. And I didn't even realize I got a ticket. My aunt was a police officer. She's like, did you sign something? I was like, yeah. She goes, you numbskull. Like, of course that's a ticket. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, why didn't you tell him? And I was like, I'm not really great at lying. So the story would have been like really fumbled and weird. I'm like not on the spot. So I was just like, okay, I'll deal with the consequences. Mm, mm. I also just think, like, especially the older I get, I'm like, what's the point of lying? Like, the more secure I get in myself, I'm like, well, here's the story. It's kind of weird, but this is what's going on. And then I got pulled. I didn't get pulled over. I got rear-ended. And then for some reason, my registration was in my husband's car and not in my car. Like, he grabbed mine and put it in his car. So I had a ticket for that. But like, I don't know why I'm telling you that. Confessions. Oh, I'm telling you that because I worried about like background checks and stuff like that. Like, I literally have never done anything. Like, I'm like so boring. I mean, like, you're fine. Your background check is fine. It's just a really good job, and I don't want anything to okay. So don't. This is again mindset. Let's not mess it up. So my mindset, what I tell you in your affirmation is like, I'm so grateful I have this job, and there's no bullshit with it, and that like, I'm not even worried about the background check because it came through, and it's like all good. It's fine. You're fine. Like 1000%, you're fine. Like, not even batting an eyelash for you on this one. It's like no color lipstick here. Let me see. Does this one have more? So I don't. I'm far from boring. I'm entertaining myself, that's for sure. I'm getting to share all of the stuff that I like read about constantly. It's just like rolling around in my head. The things that I'm fascinated about, and then my family would be like, oh my God, shut up already. Your numbers went back up from 12 to 21. I'm so excited. May I please have a general? Wait, tell me, what does that mean? What does that mean? Ah, they are home from the pool. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. Okay. Sorry, I'm just like, I'm picking up on other energies around. So I'm like, okay, like other. So give me a second. Not like spirits, like distractions. Sorry. Okay, so part of this is like, and I'm not trying to tell you not to get readings ever again. It's this idea of like, can you stand in your own power and not need my reading every week? Can you stand in your own power and decide a little bit more? And I know who tells you not to get readings. What reader does that? I do. Because I feel like it's like they're really wanting you to push to trust yourself a little bit more. They're really wanting you to push to like, so rather than like look at my reading as like, oh my God, like what's gonna come in? They're sort of saying like, why don't you decide what's gonna come in more? And start trusting that a little bit more. Um, are you are you still living with your sister? Because I don't know why I just saw a cat coming in, or there's something about a cat. Do you have a cat? You have like I actually feel like coming in, a cat coming in. Oh, you're welcome to stay as long as you want. Well, as long as I'm on. I'm glad you're here, Cindy. You live with her, but no cat. There's a cat coming in. I don't know if it means you're gonna adopt a cat or, but there's a cat coming in. And I don't know if it's like this week per se, but there's showing me an energy of a cat around the two of you. I don't know that it's your cat. It might be hers that she ends up with. I feel like your sister, even though you're living together, is really lonely. I know this is supposed to be about you. And I know that she's very frustrating, but I feel like there's a part of you that needs to have a little bit more compassion for her. You don't do cats. There's a cat coming in. I don't really care what you say. They would not show me a cat if there wasn't one. There's some aspect where there is a cat coming in. Sorry, my friend. I don't know why. Maybe she takes it on as like a rescue for a little bit because it needs a home, or maybe they find it and she finds it another home. There's a cat coming in. There's a cat coming in. I don't make the rules. I follow them. I'm very good at following rules. In fact, annoyingly so. Um, so I was like, well, what does she know about the cat? And they said, like, it's really about you learning to let go of control. Now, do I think you're a controlling person? No. Being carefree doesn't mean you don't care what comes in. It means you allow what you want to come in instead of like being so strict with it. She's scared of butterflies. I doubt about a cat. Well, there's a cat coming in on some level. Maybe you meet somebody who has a cat. I don't know. There's a cat coming in, but it feels like it's around you and your sister. And I just heard help is on the way, and I saw somebody moving a box. Um, I feel like this is more work related, and I know that you had an issue where I don't know if you were you was it considered being laid off? But it feels like that's coming in within the next week or two. That feels much sooner. There's something with a cat. You're back open. I told you you'd be back open. I knew it. Um, right again. Was I right on the timing? Um, I like being right. um, I accept when I'm wrong. I'm okay with being wrong, but I really like being right. um, this is why you keep coming back. Yes. Was I right about the timing? I can't remember. Sometimes I'm off about timing. I was off about timing with the condo thing. Not yours, somebody else. I was right about the timing. Oh, fabulous. I love it. So I saw somebody moving a box. So I don't know if there's something where things are going to have to be moved around, but I feel like he's going to hire somebody or have somebody help them come in with moving it. So like maybe files have to be boxed up and moved something differently, or maybe input in like to a different system or something like that. But I feel like there's going to be help doing that. You don't have to do that on your own. So when he mentions it, don't get overwhelmed about that. Sure do wish these would have lasted longer, but I lost them for a good reason. Not they're not fake nails. It's just the gel nail polish. It just um, there's a really great. Well, I can't tell anything about it. I mean, it's not a secret. It's just I hate those creators that like they always tell stories about their kids, and like I'll tell like really mild like, and but like I just feel like that's like their story and their like thing, and I don't like this will live forever. I don't want them to carry any of that with them. Um, the lawyer passed away. Oh, was I wrong? I hope I was wrong. I hope I didn't say that he was going to die. I'm sorry to hear that. I thought I said it was going to live, right? Mhm. That one I definitely didn't want to be right. Okay, so right. Oh, oh, that's really unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, that's so hard. Let's send him some energetic love then, so he learns to forgive himself too. Oh, that's really sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. Ugh. Okay, that's a lot. Um, everyone, yeah, for sure. Totally, families destroyed, friends destroyed, and also like, can you imagine just being in that like? I mean, because it was not intentional, and just being in that state of like, I mean, that's a lot. That's really hard. Okay, let's move on, Miss Regine. I think you're in a good place. I just feel like so for next week when you come back, I want you to start like just empowering yourself a little bit more. So maybe use me more as a litmus test rather than a, or just come and listen next week. You don't even have to buy any. Just saying. You're very welcome. Miss Devery, are you here? Oh, wait, you asked yours. Sorry. Flitterly. Starry Sky wanted a general reading. Are you sure that's what you want? Listen, let's just decide it's not hard work to work on our self-concept. It's easy to be kind. Think about how incredibly kind you are to other people, how easy it is for you to speak nicely to other people. So it shouldn't be hard work to talk nicely to yourself, because that's what self-concept is. Just treating yourself well. So let's not call that hard work. That is easy to be kind to yourself. Just remember that. Okay. I just keep feeling like I felt like such my heart space just opened up so much. And I just felt so happy. And I also feel like there's like a big sense of peace. But at the end there, I just got a little bit of a headache here over my left eye. Have you been having some eye strain lately? Um, I actually feel like maybe some of the chemo changed your vision a little bit. Sure, Cindy. Yeah, eye strain over your left eye. So I just feel like maybe go in and get those checked out. Hi, Mariana. You sent a donation. Cindy, you can send a donation. That's okay. Oh, and I got Joelle here too, and Lee, and sorry, Rothka. So I feel like it's time to get that fixed. But otherwise, I feel like there's such a great sense of peace with you now, and like sense of love. So no anxiety about your eyes, by the way. Don't worry about that. They're talking about also like you've recently come to a decision to like release or let go of needing to like help others so much or like rescue others so much. I think that a big part of that is giving you a sense of peace too. Like when it looks helmety. That's so true. She said, "Oh my God, this is so true." Just in case anybody's watching this and not like when they are watching it back. The three people that watch me back. um, that's what's bringing you peace is like setting those boundaries and like letting that go, resolving to let it go, to not have to rescue or help anybody. So I'm saying bravo to you because it's a hard, that is a little bit harder to reprogram that need, that like that feeling of like it's your job to rescue others. But it's not. I'm trying to move it out of my there. I don't I don't know. I don't like that this is not mirroring. It's whatever, and I don't like it. Anyway, um, that was hard for me to like. It was more about getting over the mindset that somehow I was being mean by not um, overextending myself to like rescue other people and like make sure they were comfortable. That was a lot to reprogram for me. And I got to this place where I was like, oh, like I'm kind of taking away people's opportunities to learn when I feel like I need to like not let them. And also, it doesn't make me a bad person because I don't overextend. My hair is perfect. Thank you. It was like parted in the middle and like then it's like square. And really, I am the only one who notices the little like, oddities of my hair. I could probably walk out and whatever. Y'all aren't here for my hair, let's be honest. That's why sometimes when I show up for like, I'll be like, I just like got finished working out. I come and I'll do a reading. And I'm like, they're not here for what I look like. They don't care. We're not here for the red carpet. You know what I mean? All right. All right. Let me, I saw that all these other people and I was like, just sitting here thinking I have like 4 people who've purchased readings and y'all are like, hello, on a banana. Let's do this. Oh, all the political people are sounding the alarms for needing donations. The urgency of political texts is like kind of hilarious to me. Okay. So, Rothka, you're up. Then Joelle. And Mariana. And Cindy. You were the most welcome. I'm so glad that you showed up today. It was nice to see your name pop up. I hope you're well. I mean, I know you're well energetically speaking, but you know what I mean. Friendly banter. All right, Rothka, what's your question? Can you go last? Sure. Okay, so then, Joelle, what's your question? Are you here, Joelle? If Joelle isn't here, or if you bounced out for a second, there you are. I'm wondering about my health and how long it will take until I'm back working as usual. Oh, okay. So I feel like, have you been like really bloated lately? I just feel like my digestion is really slow. I feel really bloated. I do feel a little depressed and I feel like a little anxiety. I do feel like your hormones are out of whack. Um, I also feel like your vitamin D is off. Do you know about any of that, Joelle? And then timing wise, I feel like, and I want to say like, it's not that you're not getting better before this point, but I feel like in 6 months, it's like where I feel like I'm so much better. Okay. So it feels like it would behoove you uh, to get a workup of your blood work. So you want to look at for insulin resistance type stuff and because your vitamin D is vitally important to all of this stuff. And then it's important to your B vitamins, but I think you're actually okay on your B vitamins. I feel like it's like vitamin D would be off and hormonal levels are off. And I feel like it might even be beneficial to look at maybe you need some hormone replacement therapy too. Also, you need to drink more water. You've been bloated, but what did you say last? Um, I felt slow digestion, bloated, slow digestion, and I feel like some depression, a little bit of anxiety, and I feel like energetically just kind of blah. I didn't say that, but I'm saying that now. And I feel like vitamin D deficiency. So it just feels like it's going to take you about 6 months to kind of turn everything around where you're feeling like a lot better. You have a broken arm? Well, geez Louise, lady. Is it up here, like right at the head, like right by your elbow, right by this joint? This is my left arm. I don't know if it's on your left or right, but you have your radius and your ulnar. So it would be like right at the top. It's right above your hand, but like at the joint. I mean, I don't think this takes a psychic. That's like 8 weeks, right? To heal all of that. But I keep getting something up here. So did you also like bruise this area really bad? And are you sure that there wasn't like, did you go get another, now that the swelling and stuff is done, did you go and meet with like an orthopedist to like, to x-ray everything? I know this is going to sound weird, but there might be like a hairline fracture up here. What do you mean they don't do x-rays there? That's weird. That doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what do you mean? I feel like there might actually be like a hairline fracture up here. Wait, what? Why would you have a brace gone? They didn't cast you? I mean, I could see maybe the first 7 days not casting and then like, this doesn't make any sense to me. They casted you? And they took, wait, cast or brace? They casted you and they took it off? And then, okay, you asked them for x-rays. Ask them for x-rays. Ask them for an x-ray. Are you still having pain up here? I just keep feeling I think this one will heal no problem, but I feel like there's a hairline fracture up here. That I'm like, I'm so blown away by this. I don't even understand. It seems like so standard here. Like they're just like throwing out radiation every which way they can here. because of money. Um, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I mean, I just feel like so it's like 8 weeks, but I don't understand why you aren't like, so here's the thing, constant movement here. So I don't understand why it's not supported. I I don't understand the have it re-x-rayed to make sure that it's healing. Um, that's what I would say. Have it re-x-rayed to make sure it's healing, and physical therapy so they can teach you how to, like, so they can talk about like weight and stuff like that. But that's so weird to me. That's weird to me. Just there's so much movement in that joint, and like just I don't I don't understand that one. That is a hard. I don't. But Sweden was kind of weird when COVID hit, right? Oh, I don't know. I feel like 8 weeks. I know that's like, so normally they say 8 weeks from the break or whatever, but I feel like it would be 8 weeks from now. And I do feel like you need to push a little bit more for them to be like, just to like make sure that it's healing properly. Of course, it's important that you're alive. However, if it doesn't heal properly, then you have other issues, especially, oy vey, less and less faith in medicine, I have to tell you. Ask them, I would say ask for a follow-up x-ray to make sure that it's healing right, since you don't, since it's not cast and stuff. I mean, maybe there's some theory that it's not necessary, but that's very strange to me. Um, sorry. I would, that's what I would do. I would go, if I were you, and ask for, like, when you go to the follow-up, just be like, can we just make sure it's healing okay? Okay. Um, I think I said Mariana next, and then Cindy. There you are. I've been using the pendulum method to ask questions to my spirit guide. Just wanted to check in with you that I've been communicating with her, and are there any messages from her? Yeah. I have to tell you, that is not always, I mean, I know lots of people like pendulums. That is not my favorite. And I think that's more about my belief systems than it is about yours. So I always feel like it's like micro movements of your muscles. I don't know. Like I there's too many ways for me to doubt that kind of stuff. So I just asked. I'm not, so I have to tell you, when I connect in, I don't see one specific guide for anybody. It's very rare. I usually feel like it's a collective energy, but when I asked just now, it's like, yes, you are connecting with her. I actually feel like you're going to think it's something else, but I think it's your higher self, not a guide outside of you, is the feeling I get. Um, oh, interesting. Now that I'm like setting the intention, it's like, oh, I'm talking to her, you. And but it's like talking about your higher self like it's a third person. in third person. So it's like she says you're doing great. She's sort of talking about there's like a sticking point, and I sort of feel like it's around her daughter, but I don't at the same time, where she's like saying like quit asking it the same question so many different times or in so many different ways, because your doubt and anxiety is giving it more of a muddied connection. And rather than looking at me, you weren't here, Mariana, for the like beginning part of this where I was talking a lot about to Serena about manifestation and mindset. But look at when you're connecting with your higher self in the sense where you're asking yes or no questions for guidance, rather than this is like some divine being outside of you that has more power than you. Look at it more as like you're doing this as a energetic shift to make sure where your mindset is at, because our thoughts create our reality, right? She's asking you not to ask the question so many times. Like it's like there's like a lot of like where I'll repeatedly ask the same question over and over. She's like, you're letting your anxiety. So please stop doing that. It's not worth. She said, just take the first answer, even if you don't like it. Remember, they're yes or no. So it's not really a complete picture. So it might be a like, oh, is this terrible thing going to happen? Yes. But you can't get that with a pendulum, right? Or is my daughter going to get that job? Blah, 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 blah. No, but you don't get that but. You don't get what follows but. You're just getting the no, so then it feels like it drops the energy of it. Hi, KK. I just saw this about your daughter. I'm obsessed with my daughter's plans because she is stressing out and passing the stress on to me. You can choose not to take that stress. And I say that because look at all the energy I pick up from y'all. Like I could say like, oh my God, it's draining. Or I can just go, well, it is what it is. And I know it's easier said than done, but especially when it comes to your kids, but it does feel like you don't have to take that on. You can be a place of like consistency and a place of, calm rather than leaning into her emotional chaos. So stop asking the same questions over and over. And rather than using the pendulum, I mean, you can do that a little bit, but what I would lean into is deciding that what you want happens. So like, it's totally fine. Everything works out best case scenario, something like that. If you can't get past your nervousness, to create exactly what she wants, because you can manifest for others. So your higher self it's your higher consciousness, because not all of your consciousness is here embodied in this physical vehicle. And your higher self is your guide. And I sort of think kind of I don't know. It's part of the collective energy that we connect into. And I also feel like I was saying this to a client actually this week. I was telling her when she starts to connect in with her guides, rather than like these guides that are outside of her that she can't fully conceptualize, that she can't, right? Because they're just like other beings. Look at your higher self. It's a part of yourself. You can conceptualize that. And your higher self kind of just hangs out here in the ethers, like right behind you. So just connect with that instead. It was funny. I got this image of you like dragging it behind you, like a little binky, or like a little, like when you're a little kid dragging your stuffed animal behind you, and they're sort of like, stop dragging that around, like, meaning this doesn't have to be your security blanket. You can easily connect in other ways. I the reason why I also like lean towards not using pendulums, because again, I feel like you get the micro muscle movements, which is sort of what can lean towards it one way or another. And when you have doubt, I feel like sometimes that will come through in the answers, rather than, especially if you don't have a full on like belief system of this always comes out with absolute truth. So even when I know that there's a slight sense of doubt within my own belief system, I won't pull tarot cards, because I have a belief system around probability with those, just because I'm a math science girl, like probability of throwing a card or whatever. And I also know when I have doubt, sometimes that's the energy that's going to come through. So I look for my answers in different ways. I look for, okay, well, if this is going to happen, either let me dream about it, or give me the information in a way that I could not deny it. I think the biggest part of connecting with your intuition, connecting, doing anything spiritual, is also being really, really real about who you are, and knowing that. Because if you know where your sticking points are, if you know the things that are like a little bit harder to get beyond, you can work with that as being an asset, rather than feeling like you're you're constantly swimming upstream fighting the current. All right, Cindy, what's your question? You're very welcome. Oh, sorry. So Cindy and Rothko, just a general. Okay. So okay, this is kind of about work. So they're talking about, in so many other areas of your life, and even in work, you have always like been very driven and very like decision oriented, like, you know exactly what to do. And it feels like there's been this period of time where you're looking a lot outside of yourself. Not like from me, but I mean like coworkers and things like that, and friends, where it feels like you're, I don't want to say you've lost yourself a little bit, but you've lost that decisive action, where you're hesitating, and they're sort of like, stop yourself when you're looking for the outside advice, and ask yourself, what do you think should happen? Because they literally, you're 9 times out of 10, when you're right, you're right. Like, you are right about it. You 9 times out of 10, like, your your vision is what really needs to happen. Um, So they're just asking you to just remind yourself that, just go back into who you are. So I don't know if if you share a space with somebody else, because I know you own your own business. Yeah. Okay. So the slowdown on referrals is not because you're not good. It's really just there. I think there's just a lull right now, just because of the summer season. It's like, well, I'm not going to refer to this just yet, because they're going on vacation. They've got this going on. There's a million different little things. So it's like the timing's not quite right. Um, I also feel like there's an issue coming up with your husband right now. Um, it feels like kind of same old thing, different day. But I also feel like there's been a shift in the last month about your approach with that. around the expenses, is that September? You got into it today. Oh. You know what I'll say about it. It's due in a month. So July or August? So no, I'm going to tell you about your husband. It's June right now, right? But in a month, it's the end of June. So that's why I was like, is it the end of June? Is it the end of July, or is it the end of the beginning of August? Hair's all, is it air dry? Needs a little, break the curls up there. Taxes, last month's rent, and deposit for new office. Okay, let's be honest about taxes. Those are estimated taxes. Am I correct? You have a little wiggle room on those. Okay, so estimated taxes, you have a little wiggle room on those. Just saying. You could probably pay those in September. I will tell you. I mean, I don't know. We probably get penalized for it. I don't know. Whatever, we pay it anyway. But I've paid our estimated taxes late. Like I'll be like right before when taxes are due. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to pay estimated taxes for this year. Write a big check out. It all works out. IRS is not coming after us because they like the checks they get from us. So, they did something weird too. We paid over last year. We were just going to pay it forward, and then New York State decided to send us back a whole bunch of money. I was like, no, those are just like, so I don't have to write out checks. Just keep that in your little. And I was like, they're making money off that. I don't give a shit. Make that money. I don't care. I don't want to have to like deal with it anyway. So that's okay. Like that can move over. So, I feel like you're going to be okay. I know that's Anna, the more you focus on like, it's not the same. It's like, it stops that money flow. And even then, I still feel like I got the same thing in my head as I did with when I was talking to my friend yesterday about her condo, when she was like worried about it not selling. And I was like, it's going to, like, look at it. Like the perspective is like, it's coming, it's happening for you. Fuck. Sorry. You believe that, and I'm doing what I can to get realigned. Yeah. So, right. So what I said to her was, let's look at this realistically. I was like, can you afford to carry 2 mortgages right now? And she's like, yeah, for the time being I can. I was like, then stop freaking out. There's no urgency. Like, do you want to pay 2 mortgages at once? No, of course not. But at the same time, like, you're going to get your investment back. Like, that's the non-issue. But also, like, so it's like, I feel like I really genuinely feel like financially you're okay, and you'll be okay with these payments coming up. It's just one of those like knee-jerk reactions of like, oh my God, this should all be coming in. But I feel like you're really good with money. And so it's like, I do have a little bit here stashed aside. I'm okay with it. So you can afford all of these things coming up. It's just not flowing the way you want it to. And because it's not the way you had envisioned it, it's like, oh my God, this should be this way. And it's not. But what I'm telling you is, it feels like so what I want to say is, I feel like, sorry, I just read that, got distracted by the other comment. What I feel like is, the lesson for you is learning to be like, I'm fine through this. Like, is it the way I want it to be? No, but I know that maybe that means it's leaving me open for rooms for better things to come in. It's like, flip the meaning of this. Listen, your husband is a character that's not really going to change much, But part of that is also you're very triggered by the 3D, and it's very like, that's probably more hard for you than anything, is to like look beyond what's in the physical thing. So like anytime a fight like this comes up, remember that's the old you that created that. So this is old news, old story, old hat that's coming up. And at the same time with feeling triggered, it's like, but you're not as triggered as you used to be. So that's like shows that the work is being done. You know all this. I know you know all this. Whenever people talk about, like I saw a thing today on ascension symptoms, like how do you know if you're ascending, right? You're going to be an ascended master. The argument was about being triggered about money. Or you not being triggered. Sorry, because of my rambling, I get lost in the sauce. So I always say, like, instead of looking at like someone was like, oh, like you're really thirsty and you're craving salt, I'm like, and that could also be like diabetes or POTS. Like there are also actual physical things that come with that stuff. So like when you're looking to see if you're ascending or if you're growing, it was a discussion about whether, Cindy, we know that discussions like that create fights, it's really about something else. It's not really about the weather. But my point is like, how do you look for your own growth, whether it's spiritually or emotionally or whatever? It's like, am I still reacting the same way I used to? Yes, I may be still triggered. I might still be reacting, but maybe I'm not reacting quite so big or extreme. So then you just go, okay, well, we'll just agree to disagree. You know all this. And why would he feel so triggered about you disagreeing? Like, that's all about him. You stayed your peace and took your space. So then just decide, like, oh, he's going to realize, like, now play game with it. Now work with the manifesting part and be like, he's going to decide that he realizes that he really did take that to an extreme. And then you just decide, oh, he just does that because he doesn't know how to express his feelings, and he's going to walk away and start to see it. It can be, I always think you're delusional if you sit and think like, if you, all the terrible things all the time. So why not be delusional and think, just have fun with it, right? I always say, like with people, I'm like, you can take manifesting super seriously. You can also just learn to have fun with it a little bit and just see how magical we really are and how powerful we really are, and do the fun stuff, and not like a cup of coffee, but like, all right, this shit's real. The truth is he walked away from this and he realized what a ding dong he was for that thought process, and how like maybe it finally clicked for him that he was being really dismissive. And maybe he doesn't apologize this time. Maybe he comes back and says this, like, you don't need that apology. Because our present, like what the things that happen with right now are a culmination of thoughts and belief systems that created that moment now. So what are you going to do in the present so that what moves forward is what you want now, right? Which will eventually be the past. Exactly. And that's the thing, is like, so something I've thought about a lot lately is like, when you start to look on your spiritual path and your spiritual journey, and when people are starting, I'm like, I think this is why I don't fully resonate with, like, when people are like, who are the spiritual people you follow? I'm like, I don't follow a lot of spiritual people. And it's not because, oh, I'm so amazing and so smart. It's just that, like, it's either an echo chamber. And so it like just kind of becomes boring. Like, these are my thoughts and these are my beliefs. And I don't need to hear somebody say it 85,000 times. When I'm looking for like a little zhuzh, then I'll go back to mindset stuff, because I think that that's just so powerful. But like, when most people are seeking readings and when they're seeking connecting spiritually or developing their own spiritual things, especially in the beginning, it comes from a place of needing outside validation, to not feel alone, or to feel seen and valued and all of that stuff. And so when you realize, if you go within, and like there's the God spark within you, and you heal a lot of that stuff within, and you stop needing the outside validation outside of you. But at the same time, when you stop needing that outside validation, you make a deeper connection. And then your faith actually deepens. It's very interesting. You wouldn't think it would be that way, but it is. And I stopped looking at, like, when people are like, "Oh, my guides this," I'm like, it's bigger than that, and it's less than that at the same time. Like, it's really just a collective energy. And that's probably why I've never been overly interested in my own guides. Like, I know I have ones that show up energetically different and separate. And at the same time, when I'm connecting, I'm really connecting with source. I'm not connecting with an intermediary, because we don't have to connect with an intermediary. We can go straight to the thing. And I think when people use guides or whatever, it's whatever's easiest for them. Guides or angels, or saying they're connecting with the Akashic records, like, it's just whatever's easier for you. And so you're not wrong, and I'm not right, and I'm not wrong, and you're not right. It is what it is. But when you realize that genuinely we are all part of source, we are all source, it's not necessarily external either. It becomes very interesting when you start looking at it like, if all my beliefs create my reality, and if everybody is me pushed out, because we are all source, right? um when you just observe interactions or situations with the idea of, how might I have created that, or what beliefs might this be reflecting that I hold about myself, rather than the idea of, like, where people say, "Oh, if somebody is acting a certain way and it triggers you, that's because you have that same trait." And I that one always was like, no, that doesn't make any sense, because I'm not that person who's being deceitful or manipulative, or like I have an extreme sense of justice, or who's like encroaching on somebody else, right? But what has always made sense to me, when I really started looking at it, is like, what do I believe about myself that might encourage that sort of behavior around me, or that I might have allowed that sort of behavior around me, or accepted, whatever you want. Okay, Rothka, are you showered in here? You ready to go? So I think that's the last one then. Trying to prove yourself. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the questions today have, like, sparked some good conversation. So if anybody wonders, doing readings is like asking 20 questions. Sometimes if I don't ask the right question, or ask enough questions, I won't get the answers that we want. So when someone writes, "Oh, I want a general reading," I always ask, what do they need to know right now? Or what would be, I don't even say their highest good. What do they need to know right now? Because I just assume that's what I mean when I say that, it's their highest good. Um, So when you're doing your meditation and you're connecting with spirit, they're sort of saying like, allow yourself to let go even more. Um, it feels like there's a slight fear behind, like they're saying falling, but like letting go and really um, seeing what they'll show you. He said they'll never show you too much, but they'll always show you more than enough. Um, you may have a different perspective than you had wanted on things when you come out of these, but it will never be anything that destroys the things that you love. Like, so if there's a fear around, like, if I connect in and I get all the full story on this, maybe it means my relationship ends, or maybe it means like I no longer should be in this company or something like that. And they're like, it's not that at all. They're saying that it's a, like a big disservice to yourself if you don't allow this deepening of the connection and the trust, because it's actually them giving you a greater sense of who you are and a greater sense of where your soul would best serve, meaning it'll open you up to more opportunities and growth in your business, but also your relationship. Does that resonate with you at all about what you wanted to know? So I'm closing myself off. I don't feel like you're closing yourself off. It feels like I'll have to get a new water bottle. This one's just giving me a hard time. So it feels like, have you ever ridden like a roller coaster where they hang you off the top before it drops over? It feels like that moment where you're like, in meditation, you'll be safe. And you sort of know that, but it's also that fear of what it really the experience will be. And they're sort of like, just let it go and let yourself fall and go with it. Because I felt myself, like when I was connecting, and I felt like all this lightheadedness that I open up, and then I felt like stopping myself. So it's that feeling of like, I feel it opening up, and then all of a sudden I'm like, nope, this is too much. And I stop myself. And they're sort of saying like, lean into it a little bit more. We won't ever give you more than you can handle, but we're going to give you more than you could ever imagine. So it's like, just lean in a little bit more and you're going to get it like a bigger picture. Stop looking at the distractibility as a problem. Shatha, these are not free readings. They're paid readings. They're $12 a question. And 30% goes to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. If you want a free reading from me, you have to follow me on TikTok, and I go live on there on Thursdays. I haven't been in the last couple of Thursdays just because end of school year was a little crazy and I couldn't make it happen. But I will be going back to those this Thursday. But otherwise, if you want a reading here, they are paid readings, or you can do a private reading, which is also a paid reading. So shoot, Rothka. I don't know. Did that make sense about like that fear of like when you're, distractibility. Sorry. So stop looking at distractibility as a problem and rather be like, this is just part of the process. And when I get distracted, I actually get deeper in. it isn't about something specific to do. It's really just about like when you're doing the work, instead of like getting, sometimes the distractibility comes from the fear of opening up and getting what you'll really get. But instead of looking at that as like, oh, it's a problem, that means I can't do it or I shouldn't do it. Really look at it as like, maybe I'm stopping myself from allowing myself in. So it's like, when you start to get distracted, bring yourself back, be like, this is okay. I can find my way back really easily. It's not a problem. I'm safe where I'm at. I'm safe in this connection. I'm safe in whatever information they're going to share with me. But allow that, instead of being like, this is a problem and it's creating issues, just allow that to be a part of the process and sort of accept that as it. Like, so I did a hypnosis thing where I paid a woman, she did some hypnosis for me for like building my business or whatever. And when I first went into it, I was like, oh my God, I'm not following. And I used to do this in group meditations too. It's like, oh, like they're telling me I'm supposed to be on the beach and I'm up here in the forest and like in the sky. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And I constantly felt like I was like not doing what I was supposed to do. And um, I was telling the woman who did the hypnosis that at a point she was saying like, oh, see yourself in the future as this new person or whatever. And I literally saw myself in this old woman's body. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not what I want. Like, but like, it didn't fit with what she was talking about. And she goes, oh, that means you're actually letting go. Like, that's like, you're fine. But the whole thing was like, she's like, if you get distracted, you're actually connecting in deeper with the hypnosis instead of, hi, flat earther, instead of like thinking of it as it's a problem. Her name, she's the love coach Kayla. She does hypnosis. um, the more I found like where I accept things as like, oh, this is just a part of the process rather than like getting frustrated and focusing on it. And like, how do I get rid of it or fix it? Rather, when I just go, this is just a part of the process. It's not a big deal. It like seems to go away on its own. But the more I fixate on it as it being a problem, the harder it is to like get beyond it. Cause it's like, how do I remove the problem when I'm really focusing on it rather than just accepting it and allowing it? And like my mentor, Stephen, would always say when we did meditations and classes and stuff, and like, in New York City, you'll hear like the sirens below, or you'll, depending on what floor you're on, you'll hear people running around, or you hear the pipes in the building making all the noise, especially in the wintertime with the heat. And he just said, and allow all those noises to further deepen your you in your meditation. Like, that's part of the process, kind of like, rather than seeing it as a problem, it's going to just create a better connection. You're very, very welcome. Okay. Just real quick, anyone have any general questions they want to ask, not about themselves, but about the world, current events, et cetera, et cetera? Otherwise, I'm going to say adieu. No, I don't think she'll pass. Mm-mm. No, I think, and it's funny, I saw something, I think a long time ago, I said to y'all, I thought she had some kind of colostomy bag or ostomy. And somebody, I saw comments if they saw a picture of her at the Trooping the Thing where she did something. They're like, oh, I see an ostomy bag. Like a nurse said it, like all these people said it. And I was like, oh, I bet, maybe that's part of whatever. I'm not fully convinced she has cancer. I have to be honest. I'm, I'm, I, because they said, some people have said they've seen her at MD Anderson, which is a huge cancer center in Houston, but they treat other things besides cancer. So I don't know. Do I see major events happening in the US in October? Yeah, I do. I don't see I do feel like there's going to be some more protesting and things like that, but I also feel like there might be some skirmishes around like just stupid political people trying to prove points, but it's nothing huge and it's like that creates a lot of damage or anything. It just like stupidity. Taylor Swift will get married. I actually feel like what's interesting with her is I don't know that it'll be. I feel like it's going to be actually under the radar with as somehow like under the radar. I mean, not like so under the radar like Janet Jackson when she was married to that guy for like 13 years and nobody knew it, who was like her manager or something, or however many years. But I still feel a little bit quieter. Excuse me. Will President Biden do well in the debate? I don't think so. I feel like he's going to. It's not that I think. I just feel like. I don't want to say it's like he freezes, but and it's not his stutter. I feel like there's just some answers where he seems like he's not fully with it. But you know what? When we have two candidates that are in their 80s, what do we expect? I don't think it's anybody's winning night. Let's put it that way. When do I think violence in Gaza is going to stop? Oh. I don't have a total stop. They're not showing me that. Something's going to happen in August. Um, and something's going to happen in October that will shift things a little bit. I actually think that's more around Biden than anything. They're not fully showing me. They're not fully showing me like exactly what's going to happen in there because I feel like it doesn't feel like it's stopped and done. Like it feels like something that takes a long time to. I heard rectify, but I don't know that it's right. I don't know that doesn't feel like the right word when I say it. I don't feel like Biden's going to be president. I don't feel like it's Trump either. I don't know who it's going to be, but I feel like there's a shift in political alignments coming in over the next, meaning AIPAC is not going to have as much of influence by 2028. I know that doesn't help with where we're at right now, but that's what I feel. The date October 15th jumps out for you for some reason, KK said. Do you get anything on that with regards to events in the US? So I saw like an Air Force plane, but I don't feel like that there's like it feels more like political posturing. I don't see a big event. I just when you're saying event, you're feeling like a terrorist event but I don't get that. It feels like it's on foreign soil. It doesn't feel like a I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like political posturing. And I don't feel like it's us going to war. I want to say that too. Again, political posturing. I don't know about things coming to a peak. Like, I feel like it's starting to shift where people are starting to see the manipulation, um, that they've like kind of all along want us to be pitted against each other, like an us versus them thing, rather than because if you make people think somebody else is the bad guy, then they're not really looking at you. This is not a Republican Democrat thing because they're all kind of fakakta, if you ask me. But um, I'm confused. Hang on. I'll get it. Hang on, Deborah. I'll get to that. I feel like you wrote that before. Did you delete it? You did. It's not bad. Um, it doesn't feel like a head thing, as it feels like it just dissolves. I don't know any other way that explains it. I think my personal feeling is the reason why they're all so worried about the younger generation and like, villainizing Gen Z is because Gen Z has a very different viewpoint than any other generation ahead of them. And it's different than when other people were younger generations. Rotha said, I know change is slow. It's just hard to think about the people there. I know. And it's good if it shifts. The wind causes the systems to change. Yeah. I hope I'm right too. Davry said, will Jennifer Soto be charged with her 13-year-old daughter besides the boyfriend? I heard yes. It feels like, I don't know if accomplice is the right word, but I feel like she will be charged for covering or something like that. Will Karen Reed be found innocent? Who's Karen Reed? Oh, is she the one with the cop thing? I absolutely feel she'll be found innocent. Is that the cop story? Yeah, I feel like she'll be found innocent. What is Trump's superpower? What do you mean? I'm sorry, I've lost some of that is. Yesterday when I was out, was it yesterday? Yeah, I was out and there was a one-person Trump parade. I thought it was the funniest thing. It was like some car driving around with these big flags on it. I was like, oh dear Lord. I'm going to say this again. There's someone called Astro Lori, and she's on TikTok. She also has a Patreon. She also has the Awake Space podcast, and she talks a lot about political stuff because she used to be a political analyst or a financial analyst, I don't know, some kind of analyst, and but she says like Trump's transits are not like he's not going to win. She said she's not fully convinced Biden's going to win. I'm like leaning more and more towards it's not Biden, but it's not Trump, it's somebody else. And dividing us against them, yes, but that's not just. Listen to me. That is not just Trump's superpower. That's been going on for a long, long time. That's racism. That's classism. That's been going on for a long time. That's like any kind of homophobia where like, like think about when the AIDS epidemic occurred. Like that, all of that is just them against us kind of thing. I heard something the other day, some man, I don't know who he was because it was just a quick little video clip, but he was talking about like, oh, you know what hormones do to women when they're on birth control and stuff. It just makes them like irrational and angry. And I thought, oh no, you're just talking about the older ones who finally realized the game and how the system's rigged against them. Anyway. All right. I'm going to say goodnight. I hope y'all have a great week. I will be on next week. Does Martin Lawrence have dementia? Oh, I heard yes. Did something come out recently about him? Google. That's unfortunate. I mean, I know he wasn't always. I mean, listen, he addressed concerns about his health. He says he's fine. It feels like whatever it is, it's early stages. So it's not like he's just going to like disappear. But you know what? Let people reveal their health stuff when they want to reveal it, you know. Anyway, all right. Good night, my friends. Y'all be good to yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Start looking up law of assumption. It is your friend. And I will see you next weekend. Okay? Have a good one.